Greetings guys, girls, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. The other day I sat down and was just like racking my brain about what to make a video about. And then I realized it had been a really long time since we had taken a look at some bad women's anatomy, because there's some pretty terrible takes about how our bodies work, and it's quite both concerning and also absolutely hilarious. And it's been such a long time since I've looked through and had a laugh, and I wanted to sit down and share that with all of you. So we're gonna sit here and just shake our heads together, because what a mess. Some people really need to go back to school. We need to really improve our education, and some people need to be sent back to school immediately, because what the heck is going on? But before we get into it, I would like to take a moment to say thank you to today's patron of the day, Melinda. I appreciate you and your support so much, so thank you so much for joining, and I hope that you enjoy this video. And if anyone else would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat or click the link in the description. It starts at as little as £1 a month, and anything helps out a lot. As you're watching this, I'm currently traveling South America, and I'm going to be uploading a bunch of vlogs over on Patreon. So if you're interested in keeping up with my adventures and what's going on over there, as well as maybe getting a little bracelet that I've made, then you can check all of that out on Patreon as well. I also would like to let you know that today's video is sponsored by Aura, and I will tell you a little bit more about them shortly. So yeah, with that, let's get into the video. I tattooed these special kind of scissors today. Can you guess what they're for? And someone commented, I don't know, maybe abortion scissors to cut the cord while it's still inside the womb so the baby can starve to death and mum can shit it out into the toilet. Whoa. So many things that are so unbelievably wrong about this. I don't even know where to start. How can you say so many ridiculous things in such few words? Like, so little words, yet so much wrong. Starting with, how are we getting the scissors in there? How are we using scissors to cut an umbilical cord of a fetus? Like, I don't want to, like, how are you thinking this works? How is that going to take place? I just need you to think that through. And then I also have to question what you mean by shitting it out. You know that's not where babies come from, right? You know that's not where babies come from. A baby does not come out the same place as shit does. So I'm really gonna need you to like take a step back and like think things through for at least 3 seconds before you talk, because what the fuck? If you were curious, I'm pretty sure they're actually just scissors to cut bandages off without cutting you. But no, they're abortion scissors, apparently. This is like a newspaper advice column called Dear Abby. Dear Abby, some time ago, you ran some letters pertaining to breastfeeding which interested me because I have long held a theory on that subject. I am convinced that female homosexuality, lesbianism, is caused by breastfeeding. It is a known fact that infants derive an erotic pleasure from breastfeeding. For a boy baby, this is natural and good, but for a girl baby to develop an erotic interest in the breast of another female is unnatural, and I think it leads to lesbianism. Therefore, it stands to reason that if all girl babies were put on bottles and nipples and only boy babies were breastfed, lesbianism could be eliminated. I am not a doctor, but I have done extensive reading and research on this subject. I'm a 39-year-old bachelor, and I am not crazy. She responded, Dear theorist, you may not be crazy, but your theory sounds crazy to me. For thousands of years before the invention of bottles and nipples, all babies were breastfed. If this caused lesbianism in women, how could the human race have survived with only normal males and lesbians? Also, how do you account for breastfed boy babies who turn out to be rip-roaring homosexuals? Sorry, your theory doesn't hold water. Or milk. You said it, Abby. That's so everything about this was fucking glorious. I am upset. I love, like, how would you explain boy babies being rip-roaring homosexuals? That's glorious, actually. It's fucking beautiful. I am so concerned over the phrase, we all know that infants derive erotic pleasure from breastfeeding. I'm sorry. Pardon? What did you just say? I think I heard you incorrectly, because there is no way those words just left your fingers. Okay, there's no way you just said that. Yeah, I mean, I stand with Abby on this though. Like, how would this be at all possible? If this was true, there would be like so many lesbians and no gay men, and that wouldn't really work very well for us, would it? That's not a great functioning way for society to be, unfortunately. As much as it would be great to have more lesbians, it's not really gonna work. Yeah, your theory does not hold milk, as Abby states, and I'm so curious as to how your many years of research led you here. And also, I think I know why you're a 39-year-old bachelor. So he's a 39-year-old bachelor, right? I feel like his research is entirely just every time a woman rejects him, he's like, she must be a lesbian, because like, why would you reject me? Every time he's rejected, he just assumes that they're lesbians. And so every time he's rejected, he's like, before you go, were you breastfed? Were you breastfed as a baby? And this is where all of his data comes from. Everyone who's ever rejected him is a lesbian, and they've all been breastfed. Or maybe he asked the breastfed question first, and then he tries to make a move, and because he's done that, they think he's weird, so they reject him. Regardless, this is the only source that makes sense to me. In which case, it all adds up. This is from a menstrual cup website, right? Like a place who sells menstrual cups. If your cup smells bad, there is something wrong. Menstrual blood has no smell, so what you used to associate with a period smell was nothing more than the chemical product contained in tampons and pads, which produce this unpleasant smell when in contact with menstrual blood. Which is just, that's not true. Oh my God. Why are you posting this on your website to people who are trying to buy your product? That's wild to me, because it's like almost like trying to sell your product, right? It's like trying to sell this cup being like, there's no chemicals in it, and like you won't even smell bad anymore, because you should get this cup for that reason. But then obviously it's going to fall through immediately, because menstrual blood does have a smell. And there is that whole thing of like, you can smell it more than other people can. But like it does have a smell. I think every single fluid in your body has a smell, you know? It just, don't be lying to people and making people feel like there's something wrong with their bodies. Especially when you are meant to be like an actual source on this issue. Like, this isn't one of those stupid like Google AI answers. This is like on an actual website that you should be able to trust for this information. Yikes. Would be really great if websites that we're meant to trust could let us trust them. And speaking about letting websites trust us, I would like to tell you about today's sponsor, Aura. Did you know that countless websites are storing and selling your information to data brokers for profit? Did you know that so often when you go on a website and they're like, allow cookies? Allow us to use your data? And you just, click all willy-nilly like, yeah, who cares? They're selling your data to make money. And through that, people can find a lot of your information. A lot of your information is out there ready for people to see and do what they want with it. It can lead to like spam calls, spam texts, emails, credit card information being hacked, passwords being leaked, all of this sort of stuff, because you are unknowingly just like giving your information to people to sell. And with Aura, you have a nice, easy way to help solve that problem. Aura allows you a way to opt out of this. It is incredibly easy, and Aura will go and just opt out of all the places where information is being stored and sold. And once you are opted out, legally, they have to stop selling your information to data brokers, which is so good. It is so nice to have that little bit of peace of mind when you're online, knowing that your data and information is secure with you. And it is so easy to set up and use, and it is incredibly affordable as well. If you would like to give Aura a try, which I highly recommend because I value my privacy and I value yours, then please do check out the link aura.com/kiwi, or use the link in the description, and you will get your first 2 weeks completely free. Thank you so much, Aura, for sponsoring today's video, and I highly recommend using it, and if you do, I appreciate it greatly. Yeah, so thank you, Aura, and let's get back into the video. This is for female urinals in Berlin. Someone commented, what if they poop in it? Women can't differentiate what's coming out when they start pushing, as far as I know. Only men have it separated. I'm sorry. I don't think I've ever encountered someone who thinks that like piss and shit come out the same place. Usually people think that you pee out of your vagina. Like that's something you hear a lot. People think that there's only like one hole there and they're not separate. I've never seen someone think that you pee out of your ass? Is that what this is implied here? Very confused. What do you mean? It's only separate for men. What do you mean? Huh? I'm baffled by this. Just as genuinely baffled me. Also, just a little PSA here, you don't need to push when you pee. Just like release. I saw a TikTok about this the other day where apparently a lot of people push to pee. You don't have to do that. It won't empty your bladder entirely if you do that. That's your little fun fact of the day. And also, obviously, your pee comes out of a different place to everything else. Because what? This is a tweet that's obviously questioning gender because that was a big thing during the Olympics, saying, does a female have hair on her fingers? And to that I say, bro, I learned in year 10 biology when I was 14 that finger hair is a dominant allele, right? Like it's got absolutely nothing to do with your sex. It's about your genetics, yes, and what you inherit, but it has nothing to do with gender even a little bit. It's about what you inherited from your parents. Big B, little b. Big B, little b, you know? It's a dominant allele. And she just, she has that. Like, how many women have you ever been around to not ever see hair on fingers? Not very many, I imagine. Oh, ew, that's gross. I don't get that. My panties are always like fully dry all day. Okay, so just say you don't got that wop and go see a gynecologist, honey, because that gross stuff means your body is cleaning itself and functioning properly. No, lol. Some of us aren't comfortable with the feeling of parasites down there. Plus, that's humiliating. I'm dry and proud, lol. Hot. /serious. I do not believe that you are serious right now because this comment is about as educated as a packing peanut, my friend. As said in that first comment, like straight up being like that gross stuff is just your body functioning correctly. I love responding to that being like, no, I'm dry because I don't like having a parasite down there. What led you to the conclusion that discharge is from a parasite? Where did you get that information from? Who told you that? Can I go punch them in the face? Like, who's saying that? If you do not ever get discharge, if you are like dry all day, every day, there is something wrong. You are doing something wrong. You are not meant to be cleaning the inside of your vagina ever because you're fucking up the pH balance and everything. Like the discharge is the sign that your like body is cleaning itself. It is doing its job. And if you do not have that, there's something going on. And then yes, you do need to see a gynecologist or a doctor of some sort at the very least, because you should not be dry all day every day. That is a problem. Please do not be out here being like, I'm winning at life. No, you might have an infection. This is a sculpture of a skeleton that you can tell is a woman because it's got like boob shape on the ribs. And this person posted it with, man, my top surgery is going to be rough if my tits are bone in. I get that it's art, so maybe it's not meant to be realistic, but I still find it so fucking funny. Like, what was the point here? It's like when they give like animals boobs, you know, like for what? For why? Boobs are not bone. They're not bone. Why are we here making skeletons have boobs? It's so funny. This says, y'all, I, 30 female, have a guy friend, 30 male, trying to tell me that IUDs are stitched or stapled in place. He says it's more common in the US, we're in Canada, by older male practitioners, and a good doctor won't do it unless asked. And here's the conversation, which happened on Snapchat, which I'm sorry, that's a whole different rant and I shouldn't have it. But I didn't know people still used Snapchat. Okay, I was having this conversation with my partner the other day. I didn't know people still used Snapchat. Seeing especially like 30-year-olds using Snapchat, this isn't a thing that I thought happened. I didn't know this was still a thing. Comment below if you still use Snapchat, because I thought it died years ago, and apparently more people use Snapchat than Twitter, and so I apparently know nothing. The conversation goes like this. IUDs don't get stitched in. This is my second time having one. I just forgot how bad it was because the last one was placed 8 years ago. Lol. Oh, yes they do. Common issue patients aren't told about by most doctors. A good doctor won't unless asked. Found that out in the office. No, they don't. It's either a single stitch or staple. More commonly done in the US, I believe, but still happens in Canada as well by older practitioners. It's inside the uterus. They can't be stitched in. It's not supposed to because it's useless long term, but they do it. You can guess the gender of the doctors who primarily practice, and which told us. Usually you just feel the pressure of the forceps, which is obviously not fucking comfortable in an otherwise tight space. I think you're remembering something wrong, or we're told wrong. Nope, comes up in threads all the time. Please show me. Sure, I'll have to look on my computer for the threads when I have a chance. I apparently can't access the US domains anymore. Guessing due to the 2023 winter internet restrictions, that's kind of stupid. But the too long didn't read is it's basically like the husband stitch, only really happens in North America, primarily the US, but occasionally hear of it happening here too. Heard stories before the doctor, but assumed it was misinformation. She told us several years ago, and yeah, lots of US threads about malpractice for them doing it. Now when I try to look, I just keep seeing advertisement for IUDs in the Canadian websites for all the safety information. Gee, I wonder why you can't find any information about it. It's almost like it's not a real thing. Because how would they possibly do that? I just need these people to use their brains for a second. This guy and the abortion scissors guy. Just think for one moment. How are they getting in there to do something? How are you stitching in an IUD? What are you, how are you assuming this is possible? To put the IUD in, you have to push it through your cervix, right? How do you, I don't even want to say it because it'll make my body cringe. But how are you putting anything to possibly staple or stitch anything up in there? How are you doing that? Unless you're doing a full surgery, coming in from the top and getting into the uterus, and how are you doing it? I would like you to draw me a diagram, please. Draw me a diagram of how you think an IUD is being stitched or stapled in, because I really, really would like to see your brain trying to work this out. Because what the fuck? Telling a woman who's had IUDs, they just didn't do it for you though. I promise you it's a real thing. Bro, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop it. That's pretty sexist. Male primates, including humans, are wired to get aroused by seeing parts of the body exposed that are not normally presented to them. That is why female apes lift and present their bottoms when they are in heat. It signals readiness to mate. It's also why many men find women in high heels more attractive. The lift of the heel forces the woman to walk with her anus more lifted and exposed, which translates subconsciously in men to an intentional provocation. Women wear heels so that their anuses are more lifted and exposed to signal to men to be provocative. That's why we wear heels, everybody. If women are forced to cover their entire body in the presence of men, and those men are not used to seeing any part exposed, then anytime any part is exposed, the visibility of that part will trigger arousal. I find it rather unfortunate and more than a little unfair when other genders have their basic instincts praised, but men are driven to shame for having theirs. I will never... That wearing heels to lift your anus thing is possibly one of the funniest things I've ever heard, ever. I especially love it because men wore heels first, and then women started wearing heels to be more masculine, which is something I think a lot of people don't know, but men used to wear heels, women started wearing them to be more masculine, and then since women were wearing them, men were like, ew. Why would I want to wear heels? I actually don't know why men stopped wearing heels. That is my assumption based off of how men react about everything. Correct, and I guess how people respond, but wrong in the reason, the free the nipple thing, which is what I'm assuming this is referring to. Yes, when women are completely shirtless. Men can react in ways where they are going to be overly sexualizing women and taking advantage of that. And that is in response to the fact that women are like usually covered up. However, I think it more comes down to the fact that they see it as an excuse. Because women are usually covered up, it then means that there is an excuse to overly sexualize them. I don't think it actually comes down to something being like legitimately triggered. It's just that we have been told, like, if a woman is exposing herself, then you are free to sexualize them. It's like much more psychological than it is biological. That's what I'm trying to get at. And also it means that if women were shirtless more often, then you lose that argument completely, you know? Like exposure therapy. Like basically none of it fucking matters and you need to shut up and just let women do what they want. This is a paragraph from a book. Seems like you don't particularly mind. My kiss caught her moans as I squeezed her damp clit apart, unfolding it, applying just the right amount of pressure. What? I'm sorry. What do you... Okay. Squeezed her clit apart. How do you squeeze something apart, firstly? And also, you're doing what? To what? One of the more concerning parts about this is it's apparently written by a woman. Like a cis woman too. So I'm even more confused now. What do you mean? What do you mean? How are you squeezing anything apart? Let alone I have questions and concerns, and I feel like maybe if you're gonna be writing smut, at least know what you're talking about and try to make it more sexy and less horrifying, because I just feel really uncomfortable. I did really like this one reply though, asking, how do you squeeze something apart? And someone replied, like a coin purse. Because that's hilarious. That's so funny. That is the only thing I can think of squeezing apart. And now I have that as a visual and please know your shit before you write things. That's all I'm gonna say. Actually, drinking a large amount of water is as such harmful, but yes, the way of drinking it might make it harmful, especially for females. Females should avoid drinking water directly from the bottle and in standing position, because in such manner, the force of the drunk water is directly exerted in the uterus of the female, and it makes the uterus weak in the long run. Especially if the water is directly taken from the bottle, then its amount is less altered as compared to when we sip from a glass, and there is less force when we drink from a glass. So females should try to drink water from a glass and should be sitting while drinking. What? I didn't understand any of that. Drinking water from a bottle is more forceful, and also drinking water hits the uterus. I am obsessed with just the idea that there's nothing going on here. Like we're all empty. We're just shells except for our uteruses. You drink water and it directly just falls on top of your uterus because there's no heart, no lungs, no bones, no blood. Like we are literally just hollow except for our uterus. And then you drink water and it's just pelting down onto your uterus. How do they come up with these things? Like what are they thinking when they have these thoughts? Because I would love to see the inside of these people's brains, because it's fascinating. I'm just so unbelievably fascinated by how we've come to this conclusion that women are hollow inside, and also you can put scissors in our uterus, you know? Like, how did we get here? What went wrong? I believe that is actually everything I have saved. I thought I had more, but I apparently do not. So it's a little bit of a shorter video today. And I hope that you had a good time. I know that I always have fun doing these, so I hope that you did too. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I upload every 4 days, and I would love to see you again soon. And while you're down there subscribing, please also click the bell just in case you forget that I upload every 4 days. You will be reminded. Isn't that great? I'm just here dinging every 4 days. A massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. I appreciate you greatly. And a huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. If anyone else would like to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/savvycat or click the top link in the description. For as little as £1 a month, you get my videos a day early. And then for £3 and up, you get things such as outtakes, bonus mini podcasts, live streams, vlogs. As you're watching this, I am traveling South America and filming some vlogs and things for Patreon. So if you want to see those, then go join. I've also added to one of the tiers a little friendship bracelets that I make. So if you are interested in getting a bracelet from me, then that's also an option. Yeah, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi, for more travel stuff and other things that are happening inside my brain at any given time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes.